All right. Welcome to UpUrXP podcast. I am your host, BlaiseMcBaine, and with me is my co-host, Swavage.
Yeah, what's up?
This is the first episode we got going on, and we're going to start off with who we are. I'm going to let Swavage introduce himself first, and then I will introduce myself.
I'm just kind of that guy who comes into your ranked games and I don't know. It's either a I go 0-6 situation, and I'm the reason we lose, or I go 10-0 and you're the reason we lose. Yeah. I've been around the comp scene for a whole long time, well, not that long, probably since like season 4 maybe. I mean, that's all I can think of right now. Probably get to some other stuff later. Let's toss it back over to Blaze.
Alrighty. I'm Blaze. I coach Split Push. I've been a commissioner in a couple different leagues. I'm currently commissioning Albion Giants League. I stream over on Twitch. Several other things, but I am mostly participating in Smite currently. I game on a bunch of other stuff too, but I've been playing Comp Smite for about 2 years now, and I've helped commission a couple leagues, as I said before. As also have ran a few tournaments, and me and Suave duo queue rank together quite a bit on Smite, so we have a good time there. And recently we decided that we wanted to start up a podcast, and this podcast is about several things. We're going to focus primarily on Smite, but we're going to talk other gaming-related issues, how to deal with different situations in gaming, and we may talk about other games here and there as well, but our primary focus will be Smite. At least for now. If we transition to something else, we'll let you know, but for right now, that's the current plan. And to go along with that, we're going to go into our games of the week, and I have a few that I want to list out. I will start, since I already have a list made, and I don't know if Suave does or not, but I'm going to start off with most of these games I think Suave was in. He may not have been, so maybe he can piggyback off a few of them too. I'm going to start off with the Athena Joust we played with Gactyl the other day, where I don't ever play Athena, and this is going to come back later, but I popped off. I got the good taunts. Everything was good, and that doesn't happen very often. If you're playing Smite as of late, you will notice there's Athenas in your game. They may not know how to dash taunt, or your teammates may not know how to beads or get away from dash taunt. Or maybe they don't even know what an Athena ult is, okay? So, that's all food for thought, and I'll come down later, but just know now, Athena's going to be a common thing that we talk about today. Other than that, finally had a Uller Conquest game that I went 11, 2, and 4, and I hit all of my abilities except Hail of Arrows. Which should be, an easy ability to hit, okay?
It's not.
I get it. It's not. It should be. I hit a lot of axes, missed a lot of Hails of Arrows. Popped off on some Cupid this week. Popped off on some Danza, and then after I popped off on some Danza, I fed on ranked with Danza because we didn't have a support because our Odin decided, you know what, I'm going to split push, not show up to team fights. That was pretty sick. Mm-hmm. We also had the best jungle start I have ever seen on an Arachne. So we queue into ranked, and our Arachne locks in for jungle. And I'm like, oh, sick, this is going to be a great start. No, we get into games. They buy tier 2 Hydras. And we're like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be so bad. They also bought Med, a common jungler item for those of you that play a lot of ranked. Not really, but we're just rolling with it. 2 minutes in the game, the guy goes, oh man, I haven't played ranked in a long time. Things have changed. Oh, they've changed, bud? You started tier 2 Hydras before? With Med? That was the move? Let's just say this game ended at 10 minutes. He was level 5. And he had completed Golden Blade. I don't even think he finished his Hydras.
He didn't.
It was just a bad time.
Yeah, it was.
We did follow that up with some sick rank games where we did Apollo Cabrakan, and we kind of ran that game. Mm-hmm. We also did Jingchen Afro, which ran that game. And other than that, I've just been doing a lot of testing of Leather Cowl and Gilded Arrow, since Death Tolls did get a slight nerf. Most ADCs are still running Death Tolls. Death Toll is still good. But in the upcoming patches, I'm hoping that it falls off a little bit because I'd like to see more build diversity into Leather Cowl and Gilded. as I think there's a lot of carry builds for viability right now. But that kind of ends my game of the week. So I played a few games tonight, popped off in all of them, but nothing too crazy happened. How have things been going for you in the games this week, Suave?
Well, those two games that you mentioned, the ones where I went Afro, you went Xing Chen. That was pretty good. That game where we had the Kabrak and Apollo duo lane, we kind of popped off there. I was top pick. My support's like, hey, does anyone want to trade? I'm not very good at support. I see my boy Blaze, he got ADC. So I'm like, you know what? Hey man, are you somewhat competent at mid? He said yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll trade with you. Sure, I'll give you that role. He was competent. He hit his stuff. He followed up on my stuff, and at the end of the day, that's all you can ask. Let's see. As for bad games, might be on the wrong account for this. I had that one game where their team out went 10-2 and just kept getting Loki Athena comboed. Shout out to Bill. We got to deal with that over in the solo lane. Our buddy Liane, a true fragger, had that game where Blaze sniped us and we got diffed because Murican, our friend Murican over at Split Push, their jungler, decided to lock in Fafnir. Not great for competitive. A more competitive and casual, not gonna work unless you're specifically proficient at that pick. It's just not where he's supposed to be, not how he's supposed to be played.
That was a fun game for me.
Yeah, I had fun for the first 15 minutes. I held you under towers, Jingwei. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, my Geb was bad.
He was just tanking my shots, and he was letting you tank my shots, and I was hitting you.
Yeah, I wasn't okay with
it. I did out player damage you by 8k.
That's very true.
Top player damage in the game on the Jingwei. You'll have to see it. 0 tower damage though. Unfortunate. Truly unfortunate. I think that right before I transition, I did get a pretty sick Tsukiyomi game earlier with Beagle and Dan over from Split Push. We ran some casuals. I had a good Fenrir jungle game. I had a good Tsukiyomi solo game. Overall, pretty solid week as far as games went. That'll wrap up mine.
All right, and we can kind of transition here. We were talking a little bit before we started recording, specifically about Athena, which led us into the topic of let's start with the top 5 gods you want to see on the enemy team and not yours, whether it be casuals or ranked.
Okay.
Do you have 5? Because I have one. I have a couple off the top of my head.
I do too, and something tells me they're going to be the same because they're the same we complain about every game that they're on our team.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're probably right. I don't want to see a set on the enemy team.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't. Like, some people are good at them, even after the nerfs. Like, if you're good and you're still picking set, you're probably proficient at set. I think that's easy to say. I don't want to see an Afro on the enemy team because she has Be's Aegis as an ult. It's pretty sick. It's a good thing. I don't want to see a Guan Yu. Not a huge fan of getting ran out on a horse and getting smacked over and over again. You got a couple you want to list off? That's my top 3. I gotta think of 2 more.
2 characters I've absolutely been loving on the other team in my ranked games have been Mercury and Kali. Mainly because every time they're on my team, they don't play. They just kind of die. I don't know. Maybe they just find the gray screen nice and soothing. But I'm pretty sure you could just set your monitor to tint. You know, if that's what you want to do, you can play the whole game on gray screen. You know, nothing's stopping you. I don't like seeing Guan on the other team. I don't like seeing Scylla on the other team. I'll go ahead and give you guys my rant, Scylla wins games. Scylla is probably the easiest character to win the game with. You can be like 2 ranks below everyone on the other team, and as long as there's one person on your team who can either CC them, peel you, or distract them, which means that they don't even have to like they don't even have to be good. They can just be a distraction. Anything to give you time to hit any ability. You win the team fight. It's absurd. It is absurd. I haven't been liking seeing Giannis on the other team because it feels like every time I play mid and I'm not playing Giannis and the enemy mid is playing Giannis, everyone decides, you know what? We're just going to push up without wards and die to their mid laner. And then we're going to get mad at our mid laner for not rotating with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Giannis is a god I don't like seeing on the enemy team, but I also don't like seeing on my team with randoms.
I agree.
Because if it's on the enemy team, I'm getting dive bombed or hit with Yanis ult on cooldown. If it's on my team, my Yanis doesn't know what to do and doesn't rotate at all. He's just like, hey, I have this cool ult thing, and I fire it from time to time to clear wave. And I'm like, oh, sick. You know, that's like massive damage to enemies. He's one that like I don't want to see on either side. I don't want to see him on the enemy team because when they're on the enemy team, they're basically like Hurwind. And I don't want to see him on my team because when they're on my team, they're worse than me at mid. And I am not good at mid. Like, mid's my least played role. It's not good, okay?
Unfortunate. Let's see. What other characters? I don't like seeing Thanatos on the other team. They just kind of run the game.
Yeah, Thanatos is another one.
It's really hit or miss. It's really hit or miss. But I don't like the fact that they absolutely could go 13-0. Also Sobek. He just plucks you and then you're dead. There's like, as a carry, there's nothing that feels worse than playing against a Sobek when you don't have any peel. You just die every time.
I was going to say the other character I don't like seeing on the enemy team is Cupid. I think he's so safe and so irritating to play into. Unless I can get my support on the same role as me, as far into like wanting to play how I want to play into him, it just doesn't feel good. As far as, and that kind of rounds up my top 5 gods I don't want to play against with randoms.
I feel like I've said about 5.
Yeah, I think so. We had Yanis, Thanatos, Kali, Mercury, Guan, Set.
More than 5.
Yeah, more than 5. What are gods? What are gods that we want to see our randoms pick up though?
Well, not Athena.
Yeah, not Athena. We'll get to that. That Athena's like her own special case.
I love it when my teammates pick Guan.
Yeah.
For the most part. That's usually feels good. King Arthur as well, for the most part. It feels like people who pick Guan Yu and King Arthur, sweaty tryharding, wanna rank up. So it always feels good when your teammates actually want to win for once.
I also like seeing like Bologna from time to time. Just thinking about like soul laners, like I think Bologna isn't highly valued right now, but like when the people that pick Bologna are usually pretty good at her.
Dude, I love seeing those whack picks on my team. Like not the ones where it's like, why are you doing that? But the ones where it's like, I respect that.
Right.
And as long as you don't like throw the game, I'm happy I saw you play that, and I don't mind if we lose. Not because of you picking that, but just in general. I'm okay with taking an L for getting to see the frickin' like 7-4 Agni jungle on my rank game, you know? Stuff like that.
I was gonna say, so I was kind of like thinking about it by roles. Is like, as far as like junglers, I like to see on my team, and I don't. And this goes another god I don't like seeing on the enemy team is Pele. I think Pele is like really solid, and I also was gonna say Hibwa as a jungler. I think is really good and undervalued right now. I don't think we see him a lot. But I think he is good. As far as mids, I don't like seeing Yanis on my team, so I'm not going to say him. I like seeing Raijin. I think Raijin is a really solid pick in mid right now. I would say he's probably the second best mage to Scylla. There's obviously some contention there with Raijin, but I think Raijin is a god I like seeing. He's safe, and he does a lot of damage.
Yeah, especially when you buy Vamp Shroud, Blaze.
Yeah, Vamp Shroud is a solid item. Like, look, Genetics said it. I build it. It feels good. That's all I know. Is there any other picks you like seeing, like in jungle or mid, specifically?
Oh, I love it when my randos pick Scylla mid, because then I know at some point in the game I'm gonna hit a CC ability, and someone's going to die because of it.
Yeah, all they have to do is hit a giant circle,
Exactly, or a line,
or
and
another
CC,
giant circle.
yeah, like eventually the enemies are going to end up dying. So I don't really care too much how long that takes. I like seeing Apollo on my team.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the other mid laner, I like seeing Raw. Just because like when a random hits a sick Raw snipe, it just feels good. As far as carry and support, I think support actually I like seeing Ymir right now because he plays pretty aggro. And like he also just brings a lot to the team. I also, and this is going to sound terrible because it wasn't his main role last season, but I think it's going to be where we see him the most this season. I like seeing Cthulhu support. I think it forces the enemy team to build into certain items, especially as a carry. And he brings a lot to team fights. And just to the lane itself.
I feel that. I like seeing a Sobek on my team for his support.
Yeah, Sobek's really good. Always.
Like you can die for like the first 15 minutes, but the second you step into a team fight and you hit a pluck on someone who isn't going to kill your backline, they're dead. You know, it just feels good. You can be a level 12 fighting into level 20s. It doesn't matter if they kill you after the pluck. At least you get the pluck off.
You mean I'm not supposed to pluck the tanks into my backline?
Well, if your backline can kill them, then you can.
I should pluck... so you're saying I should pluck Guan Yu into the backline pre-ult, right? And then... I'm just kidding. Because that's what happens when I see Sobek on randoms.
Oh, yeah.
I think carry-wise, there's a lot of carries. I enjoy seeing Heimdall. I think
Me too.
Like Heimdall is one of those ones that just kind of feels good to see because when people know how to play him, like he's absolutely insane. I don't know beyond that if there's anybody like that's kind of not meta that I enjoy seeing. I enjoy seeing Scotty, but that's like a highly undervalued pick in my opinion.
Randos have been valuing the Kernanos more.
Yeah.
And it feels like whenever there's a Kernanos locked on my team, they're pretty good.
Kernanos is kind of insane.
He is.
I played against one tonight, and it was just popping off. Like, overall, like, I don't understand. He got the buff, like, 2 patches ago now? And we're just now seeing people starting to play him, and it's like, he's been good for a couple patches. I don't know what y'all are doing. Like, especially...
His one is insane, guys.
Yeah, I saw someone run Devos, Devourer's Gauntlet, into his 1 with the lifesteal on it, and, like, he trades with anybody at that point. He has so much lifesteal. It's insane. Not to mention, like, he can do prot shed bonus damage and slow you. All with his 1. Like, his 1 is super valuable. If you don't know how to play Kernanos, you should learn how to play Kernanos as a carry, because he's insane.
I agree.
But I think that's like the gods I would like to see on my team, just going by like roles and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I guess I like seeing Tyr on my team.
Yo, Tyr is like feels good. Movement speed Tyr or just like a tank build Tyr?
Well, either way, they're still building. Like even in like the meta slave Tyr build, you still build Relic Dagger.
Right.
So it's not bad. I think that about wraps it up for me.
All right. So we got patch notes this week.
We did.
We got bonus patch notes, and we got the Gilgamesh patch notes.
We do.
And I want to talk about bonus patch is like the smallest patch I think they've done as far as changes in recent memory.
I think it was really well done.
It was really well done. Like they went through and were like, "Hey, Yanis is meta. We're gonna nerf his movement speed. Hey, Tsukiyomi's overperforming still. We're gonna nerf his base damage. Guan, increase cooldowns because he's insane right now. Afro, Lovebirds decrease cooldowns or increase cooldowns by 2 seconds. Apollo got a change that was finally needed rather than the one he got last patch on his ult, which I mean it's still good, but like this was the one that was really needed. And then, in my opinion, the best jungler right now is Nemesis. Like we could make an argument for Set, but we're not seeing enough Set to really have that kind of data. Like Nemesis is insane. So I was happy with everything in that patch. Like everything just felt good about it. But instead of talking about the whole entire 8.4 patch, right? Is that what it is for? Yeah, 8.4 update notes for Gilgamesh.
Yes.
Instead of talking about the whole entire patch, what I want to do is talk about our things that we're looking more... First of all, the things we're looking most forward to as far as those patches go. I know the thing that I think's gotten looked over and people haven't realized is the tier 2 tower change, where they're getting more health and dealing more damage. I think that was needed, especially with how carries are performing right now. It'll slow that down a little bit and keep them from just being able to run at towers and take them. So that was one of the things I'm actually looking forward to, even as someone that's playing a lot of carry right now.
Yeah.
Did you have any specific ones that you're looking forward to, besides obviously Gilgamesh?
Oh, I think one of the most game-changing things coming out in patch 8.4 got to be the Gilgamesh Golden skin.
No, that skin is really good.
Nah, I'm trolling. I do think that all the Baba bug fixes kind of huge. It's just gonna feel a lot better when you press 4. There were issues where you would kind of screw yourself over. Your camera would start messing up when you ulted. It would make it harder to aim, and then it would also kind of glitch out in the jungle mainly when you run into walls or enemy gods. So I think that'll help a lot. She'll feel a lot better in her ult, and her ult's pretty solid. Like it's really slept on.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of people are looking forward to the Baba Yaga changes, or just the fixes to Baba Yaga. Like hopefully she'll be even more playable than she is now.
They've been much needed. I think that the Vine walls are also going to be kind of cool. Everyone who I'm talking with thinks that they're kind of a waste of time, but I think it'll be interesting. I didn't play back in beta in season 1, but I know that the fire giant pit used to just be like a domed in kind of room, and I think that's what it's gonna turn the mid camps to Gold Fury pit into. It's gonna be interesting because there aren't going to be all these paths out like on their own. So if you go in there to take the oracles and you haven't cleared out that vine wall, you'd better watch out for that Vulcan ult coming right over the wall, because you only have one way to go.
Yeah,
Unless
I think
you wanna
about
run
it as
out.
like kind of like Persephone ult, right? Like you can't walk away from Persephone ult without killing it or going off cooldown. Like you have to kill the walls. Like you're gonna want to carry there with you. If you pull a bad fight and you don't remember the walls there, or the wall comes back up because the camp spawns, since they're on the same cooldown timer as the camps, like that could turn bad for you really, really quick.
Yeah, it's also cool because in recent memory there have not been these kind of areas where it's not like an open path like the rest of the map. It's kind of like a little cul-de-sac. So it's going to make big circles even more relevant.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see Unbats being pretty sick for the fights around the mid camps, because you could just knock someone into a wall if they haven't cleared it out. Use that against them. Knock them into yours. Leave your vine wall open.
Yeah,
or
I'm
it leaves
curious to
your vine
see,
wall closed.
does it bring other gods into the meta just because of these vine wall changes? And like, shout out to the high res dev team to like changing the conquest map during the season. This isn't
Hmm.
something that many games do, if any. And like, they're not just adding the vine walls; like, they changed the whole entire like skybox lighting, which I think is going to look amazing from what I've seen from PTS.
Yeah, and this isn't the mid-season patch either,
No,
as far as I'm aware. So this is the first time they've ever done like a big change like this in a normal patch. Usually the minor map changes come at the mid-season, so this just kind of leaves me um, clueless as to what they're gonna do for mid-season. Also, what did they call it? What did they call it? Invisible foliage tech, I think.
oh yeah, when you go up in the air and like it disappears, so you're able to see. So like if you're Rama ulting Thanatos, Cthulhu, anybody that has these like global high alts that you go through, like you're
Yeah.
able to see. Like it was insane. It was insane seeing it. I was like, I am excited for this. Like that's such cool tech to put in the game.
Yeah.
I think the
It's
other
so
thing
much needed too.
I think the other thing I'm excited about with this patch is the alternate timeline buff. We might actually finally see it in Conquest. I think I've seen it since Season 8 started. I think I've only seen it 4 times in total. So I'm curious to see, like, do we see that more? Um, but that kind of tops off, like, the things that I was, like, really excited about from the changes of 8.4. I don't know if you have any other ones you want to mention before we move on to things that we weren't, or, you know, we thought were missing or weren't as happy about.
I am really excited about what they're doing for these starter items. You know, Ornate Arrow is gonna have some actual stats on it. Everything you get from the passive is gonna stay about the same, give or take. Um, but now you have everything you'd be losing on the item, so it doesn't feel bad when you leave base with no gold. I like the fact that Leader's Cowl is going to be like a thing. I'd think.
Yeah, I think Leader's Cowl definitely comes to be built more now.
I like how they made Sentinels better for the purchaser, but like less around the aura. I think that feels good. I don't honestly. I think the compassion upgrade feels kind of bad because you don't want to. I don't know. I feel like you're going to be taking a little bit too much damage. I like what they did with Sundering Axe, making it sure that mid laners can't abuse it. There are other starter items in the game that you could go. You could go a Sentinel's Embrace. It's making you even tankier with this patch, so I think that'll be where they go. And I'm gonna tentatively say I like what they did to Bluestone Brooch.
Yeah.
How they're making it do more damage. I don't know how much that's actually gonna feel like in game, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think it makes buying Bluestone early like, oh hey, I can upgrade this into something I'm going to use later on though.
Yeah.
I still don't know if that's like a feels good thing. Was there anything from this patch that you saw that you wished was in it or that you just weren't too happy about? I can think of 2 things that I was a little bit underwhelmed by or just didn't really understand.
I don't like. I really like what they did about Circuit's passive because I think that it's a real feels bad when at least when like carries are buying Shell for a Circuit instead of Aegis. But either way, if you auto them with a block stack up or with an Aegis up, it cancels it out. If an Athena dashes you before you have the ability to auto her, you just don't get your passive. So I think it's really good that they're fixing that. I'm not sure how I feel about the last breath buff. I mean, she needs it. I don't know. No, I think I like it, but I'm not entirely sure. I like Tiamat not being able to build full damage.
Yeah,
There's really nothing I didn't like.
I think Tiamat possibly could have used more of a nerf. But
I
we'll
agree.
see. I don't really understand the Achilles change. Like, I don't think. I mean, I hope it brings him into the meta some more because I think he is good. I just don't know. It's weird. Like they decreased the cooldown on Shield of Achilles, but then Fatal Strike, they're like bonus damage is down by 5%. So it's like, hey, we're going to buff his cooldown, but we're going to make this bonus damage taken lower. And I don't know. The bonus damage taken, I don't even know if many people know how that works with his ult. But if you don't, you should go read it. Every time you hit a target and execute, like you take bonus damage. So that's just kind of feels weird. I think it's a good buff, but it's just kind of odd.
I mean, I think it feels really good in the situations where it's applicable, because it would have been pretty easy to burst down an Achilles after he gets the first execute, maybe second, because at that point everyone's dealing 20% extra damage to you.
Right.
Now it just makes you that much tankier after the executes. But I don't think it's game changing. I think it'll just help him continue diving instead of having to use like the second or third charge of his ult to leave.
And then I think the other thing, my last thing, and I'm kind of iffy about, I don't really know if they needed to change the tankiness of the Greater Scorpions. Because that was one thing they did. They decreased the base max health, the base protections, the scaling max health, the scaling physical and magical prots. And I just don't think it was needed. But, here we are. Other than that...
Was that change for the ones that spawn at gold and fire, or the ones that spawn on the sides of the map?
I think it's the one... I don't know.
Or all of them?
I don't know. I think it's the ones that spawn...
Greater Scorpion jungle.
Yeah, I think it's just the ones in the jungle. But,
I'll figure it out.
That was one that was a little weird to me that I wasn't entirely sure of. But overall, like, I think these two patches, the bonus and the 8.4 patch, are really, really good. Like I said, there's just some stuff that I thought was a little odd. But overall, I thought it was a great patch. Or set of patches, I guess I should say. Especially, I forgot to mention this, but the skins coming out of the Groovy chest, the Merlin and the Artemis skin, are insanely good. Like the Tusky on the Artemis skin, insane. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a bus with a smiley face, and that's pretty sick.
Oh, that's sick.
And I guess this kind of leads us into the end here. We haven't really talked about it yet, but let's talk about Athena. All right, Athena received a buff that her taunt now does damage. And now all of a sudden, solo, support, and junglers are like, I need to play Athena. And I'm not quite sure that they all need to do it. Like, when Athena gets locked in on my team, I don't feel good about it. Because I'm not sure that people know how to play Athena. And that's okay. That's what casuals are for. But when I see an Athena every single game that doesn't know how to play Athena, that's a problem. For instance, we had one in our rank game the other day that starts pinging that she's coming to my blue buff. I'm fighting Chalk. Chalk's about to die. Instead of coming to lane, securing the kill, keep in mind this is a jungle Athena, securing the kill, then we go to blue buff, and we both split all that XP. She goes to my blue and drops it. I end up dying because we were trading, and like he was an auto away, and that's just how it worked out. I got played, is what it is. She then dashes under the tower to go for the taunt and dies the tower and gives him a double kill. It was just a big feels bad. Okay? I also don't think, like, just when you're going to buy items for Athena, just think, hey, what does Athena want to do? She wants to be tanky. She wants to taunt people that are going to make her attack her. She wants prots. These are all good things for Athena. You don't have to build full damage. You don't have to build full health. Just build it like you do other solo laners, or except for there is a Death Toll build. I'm not going to get into that, but like build it in a way that makes sense. And I think right now I've seen a lot of Athena play that just makes me question: was the 200 damage on the taunt worth it? Or what I think that's what it's at rank 1, right? It's like 200 damage.
It's 50 scaling up to 170 and 30% scaling. For reference, her 1 goes from 80 to 280 plus 50%. So that's an extra 110 damage on her dash and an extra 20% scaling. Her 2 really doesn't do much damage. It's just a nut. It's just like it does some damage to camps. And in support, you were kind of early, like a while ago, it was the issue of like, do you want to put all your points into your 3 or your dash so you can do damage, or do you want to max your taunt, but they're going to get DR'd and CCR, so maybe you won't get the full effectiveness out of your taunt. But now it wouldn't feel too bad to max your taunt because at least it does damage. Well, yeah, it doesn't feel as bad to max it, I don't think.
I don't think it feels as bad either.
Or two of her.
But she is a god I don't want to see on the enemy team or my team.
I agree.
Like going back to earlier, like Athena is the special case of like I don't want to see her on either side because I feel bad for the enemy team when they have her because it's the same thing that I'm having to go through on my end. Mm-hmm. I've ran into a few good Athena players. Don't get me wrong, they are there, but it's like that small change made people go, "Oh, she's viable now." She was viable in support before. Mm-hmm. She was somewhat viable in jungle. I'm not going to say she was like a great pick, but like she had her niche there that where she could like play. And the same thing for solo. Like people were playing her in solo. She wasn't crazy or anything, but there are picks that she worked well into. And I think that one change just made it where she's played so much more. And I'm not sure that she's that much better.
I don't think she's that much better. Something just came. I just got a thought, and I just completely forgot what I was thinking.
Oh no. That's what we like to call tough, and not TOUGH, really the TUFF tough.
Yeah. Objectively worse.
Objectively worse. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where like if you're playing Athena, like there's no reason to build selfish. Like Athena's kit, right? It is very much like when you ult to somebody, you have a global ult. Don't wait 15 minutes into the game to ult for the first time. Like your ult gives prots. Like if you know one of your teammates is getting dived by 3 people and you can make a difference, use your ult. It gives prots. You do a good amount of damage when you land. You still have your dash taunt and your 3, like your Rend. Like it's all good. I think that's the issue I'm running into. Like we have a lot of these Athenas that I'm seeing that they'll go, so like Athena solo, for instance, buy teleport, because then you can ult across the map, do something with your team, which is what you want to do as Athena. You want to use that global ult. And then you can teleport back to your lane and you miss no farm. Like there's nothing wrong with that. That actually works out really well for your team if you do that. If you're doing Athena jungle, you have an ult, use it. You can use it to get into fights. Be like, hey, run in now, so that way I can ult to you and I can taunt and we just pop off. If you're in support, you have an ult. I can't stress it enough. Like the one thing that I see a lot of is people not ulting. And like that ult's not on a crazy long cooldown. Just ult. Use it to initiate fights. Use it to save a teammate. It's the same thing with taunt. Athena has a taunt. It's a very big cone.
Wait, she does?
And if you don't know what peel is, you should consider staying with your carries and peeling for them with Athena.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why would you peel your carries when you're clearly the only person on your team trying to win? Like,
look, I don't know. Look, actually, you have, what's the quote? What's the quote about peel that you heard in ranked or whatever the other day in that lobby?
It
was really, really good. We got to find it.
My solo in support couldn't peel a banana.
Yeah, there we go. If you're Athena and you can't hit a taunt, you can't peel a banana. You heard it here first.
I remember my thought. Aggro used to rant all the time. I think on his podcast Backliners with Barra, on SPL casts in his stream, about how much he hates seeing Athena picked in his games. Now, given this was a while ago,
he still does, by the way. He still rants about it.
He still does, and it's because it's the Kumba issue where you see a Kumba in your game, you know what they're gonna do. You see them start their 2. Oh, I have 2 seconds to figure out what I want to do. Oh, he's about to blink ult me. Or he's gonna blink mez me and then ult me.
Yeah.
Like, there's such a small amount of things you can do on Kumba besides going the classic Sands of Time into
Oh God, no alternate timeline. Yeah, we saw that. We saw that in a ranked game. Holy dude, that's a throwback to like a month ago. Oh, that hurts my soul. Yeah. That's as bad as Conduit Gym Jungle Cabrakan.
On Athena, okay? If you're starting Blink in the jungle, don't forget that you have a Blink so you can Blink taunt. You don't have to dash taunt in. You can Blink taunt. You don't have to like 3 and then taunt. Your 3 does more damage on the first hit now than it used to. It used to do like a quarter or a third of the damage and then the rest of it on the second. Now it only does about 100 less on the first hit. You can absolutely blink, taunt, and then 3 them. You don't have to drop all your kit and then taunt them into the damage. You don't have to. You have teammates you can taunt to set up.
And I think, do you think there's like, so I think like Athena's really good into like birds, beads burning comps. Holy dude. But do you, like, for instance, I think Athena's really good with Scylla. I think Athena's really good with Danza because his taunt's not on a DR. I think if you're picking Athena, like, you really do have to think about the gods that are around it, because it's like you said, the kit's predictable. Like, you know those people are looking to dash taunt almost every time.
Poseidon.
Yeah. So you want to pick it because you're setting up somebody else, but you also want to think, am I having to frontline or am I going to be peeling for my backline? Because I think peeling for backline feels really, really good, even though you don't have a lot of peel in your kit. Like, you have your 2.
And not only is taunting someone in the backline peeling, it's also setting up. Because they're running at you now. If you have, I don't know, like maybe 9 out of 10 mages have good follow-up to the taunt. And if they don't, then why are you picking Athena with them? You know?
Yeah, and I want to shout out like Split Push, right? They picked Athena solo at one point, and they hit the taunt, but Beagle is standing there on Raijin, ult, and just destroys everybody. Like that's a good experience of, oh, I taunted, and we got a lot of damage off. So I think I rest my case there on Athena. Like, think about what you're doing. Don't build selfishly. Like, that's not what you're built. That's not what the gods meant to do. And for the love of everything, use your ult. I don't know if you have anything you want to add on to that, but that is my case for Athena.
If you disagree with us, please feel free to at us on Twitter at BlaiseMcBaine at SuaveCF. Hop on into our Discord. Feel free to grief us in any channel you can about how bad our takes are. You know, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we are. Please, you know, any feedback you have, I will be putting links below.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Tell us that we're wrong. Tell us why we're wrong, and tell us that we ended in your rank game. And I'm sorry for that one. Not about the other ones. But if I int in your rank games, I'm sorry ahead of time.
I 100% agree. I'll put links below for our Twitters, Twitch, and the Discord. Please come join. Come hang out. We'll be doing like weekly questions if you want to put your input in or you want to suggest questions. Come hang out. Post those in the Discord. And I don't have anything else for the day or the evening or whatever time it is at this point. Do you have anything else you want to add, Suave?
In honor of our good friend Liani, don't forget to drop your Twitch Prime sub on BlaiseMcBaine. TTV. Thank you.
All right. And we'll catch you all on the next episode of Up Your Experience. We hope it's been a good one, and have a good week. Bye!
Bye!